If you don't know where the U.S. Embassy is, God forbid you ever get robbed or anything like that. The only thing that you cannot get back is your passport.
Yeah.
And when I went to Brazil, I went to Carnival, and Carnival is from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I was up all night long, and then I took a bus in the morning at like 8 a.m. to another part of Brazil, and I just passed out on the bus. And I literally had like a fanny pack, not around my waist, but it was like sitting next to me.
It's just you on the bus?
It was just me. Yeah, I was solo traveling through Brazil.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I ended up getting my passport and a couple other things that I had. Like someone just took it off me, off the bus. And you know, like I was passed out, had to figure out where the embassy was. Luckily, I still had my phone. When you go to an embassy, you can't take your phone or anything
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a security measure.
Like lockdown kind of.
Yeah, you literally can't take anything in there with you.
I mean, that makes sense.
I had to go to the embassy and I had to get an emergency passport. Mm-hmm. So you get an emergency passport. They literally printed it. It was like, it'll be ready in 4 hours. They had it ready and I got my passport and made it home.
Turn it up, don't turn it down. Solafide, we wear the crown. Solafide! Solafide! Solafide, melody. Solafide! Talk it real, we don't play. Solafide! Solafide!
Welcome back to the Solified Podcast. It's been super long since I've done an episode, mainly because our family moved into a new house. We had to move away from the studio that we were in before. And when I say we, it's mainly me, but even my wife helped with this whole setup. I would not have this setup if it wasn't for my wife. But nevertheless, today we have a first-time guest, my own blood, my brother, Johnny Morales, a.k.a. Fairfield Jonny.
Hey, yay! The Bay is in the billing.
Yeah, man. So you just recently went to the snow with my kids. How was it?
It was good, man. We had a lot of fun. You know, the snow is a second home to me. It's actually my happy place. And so to be able to go and spend it with two people who mean the world to me was a lot of fun. So I had a good time.
Speaking of, a lot of these books you've started creating, children books, have come out of you just being around my kids and being around the family. And, you know, my daughter's obviously super bright and clearly has some funny things that she does and stuff. And how did you get the inspiration behind the actual creating the book, like the first book and all that?
You know, first of all, I became Uncle Johnny about 16 years ago for the very first time. Mm-hmm. I remember when Kai was born because that was actually the same time that I was dealing with a lot of personal things. And the weekend that he was born was actually a weekend that changed my life. And so specifically becoming Uncle Johnny and Uncle Jon, as the books are called, has meant a lot to me. But it wasn't until I started traveling a lot in 2020, right around the end of COVID, actually. So it was like 2021. And that's when Everly was born, your daughter. And so when I was traveling one day, I got a FaceTime from Alyssa, just wanting to see what I was up to and where I was. And lo and behold, the whole Where Is Uncle Jon book idea kind of sprung out of nothing. And then really for the last couple of years, I've been looking to expand beyond the business that I already had, which was contractor / handyman / pest control, which is all service businesses. And I never really had a product of my own. And I was thinking, actually, Pastor Godot taught a message a long time ago. And he said, "What do you have in your house?" Talking about the woman who went and got the pots inside of her house and took them to go filled with oil. And he was like, "What do you have in your house?" And I was like, "What do I have?" And I was like, "Oh, I have all these amazing experiences that I've lived through, and I want to put them into book form." And so I gave your daughter an AKA, Olivia Rose. And so that's her kind of like,
alias.
Yeah, her alias, exactly. And Olivia was actually the name that I wanted to originally name my daughter if I ever had one. Before when I was thinking about having kids and before this current run of actually having a kid soon. I just love the name.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just love the name Olivia Rose, Olivia. And then, of course, Ava's middle name is
Ava's my pug, who was his pug at one point.
Yeah, Ava Rose. And so I kind of put the two together, Olivia and Rose. And Olivia Rose was born. And so I just came up with this idea for the books right around the time that she was getting ready to start reading, right? Like, I mean, she's in that years of development and learning to read. But yeah, I just wanted to take my experiences and my love for the kids, obviously, and my ability to be a natural storyteller. One thing that I've learned about myself over the years is some of my strengths and my weaknesses, and I'm a good storyteller. So developing that into a children's book only seemed right. Yeah,
that's pretty good, man. After writing the book, so the first book takes place where?
So the very first book it's the books series that I have out is called Where Is Uncle Jon? And it's a travel adventure children's book. So it's supposed to be a travel adventure. It's kind of taking the kids on the road with me, but also too from the perspective of family, not just traveling the world just to travel, but to go and see the world, experience it, and share that with the kids. And in fact, Kainu and some of our other nephews and nieces, I bring them back money from different parts of the world, actual dollars from, Boliviars from Bolivia, or, pesos from, Colombia, stuff like that. And I tell them, I hope you go and spin this there one day, just to kind of broaden the idea, because I didn't really know anybody that had been to those countries except for a friend. And so the very first book was one of the very first trips that I took in 2022. And it's called Where Is Uncle Jon? The Amazon Jungle. So the trip that I went on was in Colombia. We actually went to, I think 6 or 7 different cities in Colombia, kind of bounced around because of COVID. COVID was kind of high. So we originally went for Carnival. That was the idea. We're going to go to Colombian Carnival in Saint Marta. That was the idea. And then we got there and COVID shut it down. COVID shut down the Carnival celebration. And so we found ourselves just we're here. Instead of spending 2 weeks in one city, let's just go see a bunch. And so I started in Bogota, then I went to Medellin, and then I ended up in Guatapé, which is where they have that 600-step big rock you climb in the middle.
Yeah.
Pablo Escobar had his lake house there that was very famous in Narcos.
Really?
Yeah. So in Narcos, when they attacked his lake house and they blow it up, I actually saw the house on the lake. It's pretty
crazy.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't put that in the book.
Yeah.
The books are very kid-friendly. Exactly. But I ended up going to Leticia, Colombia, which is a place on the Amazon River, but they call it Tres Fronteras, which means the 3 fronts, the 3 frontiers, if you will. And so it's where Peru, Colombia, and Brazil all come to an actual point. Kind of like how Arizona, New Mexico, Utah and Idaho, they all come to or Colorado.
I think it's Colorado.
Yeah, I think it's Colorado. They all come to a point. They call it the 4 corners.
Yeah, because Colorado's right next to Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. So they call it the 4 corners. So it's the same kind of thing, but the 3 countries come to a point. And so you can literally be in 3 countries in one day, which is kind of crazy.
It's like a peace sign almost.
It's literally just a big banner, and it's you are now entering Brazil. To cross into Brazil at that place, the border office, where you have to go get your passport stamped, is literally on a boat on the river. You literally walk it's kind of like walking a plank, but you walk across a little dock and you go into the boat, and that's where the immigration office is, because once you enter the boat and cross over on the other side, you're in Brazil. So the immigration office is right in between on the river.
What happens if you break a law while on that little area?
First of all, the number one rule of international travel is try not to break any laws.
Yeah, because you don't know how strict those countries can be unless you extremely looked into it.
Yeah,
they sometimes can be super harsh.
Which this is kind of funny because I've told you about some of my traveling, but we've never actually had detailed conversations about it. So this is kind of fun to do this right now. So what we did, and this is in the book.
What laws did you break? No, just kidding.
I mean,
no, just kidding.
Thank God for redemption and salvation. I am a changed man. I was not into breaking any laws, but I'm pretty sure some were broken if we were to be honest. But no, we it was the end of our long trip. So we were there for 2.5 weeks, and we spent 4 days total in Leticia, 3 of them in the jungle with a guide. And so the book starts off with Olivia Rose waking up from a nap, asking her mom, where is Uncle Jon? Because she sees a picture of me and she goes, where is Uncle Jon? She goes, I don't know. Let's FaceTime him. And when she FaceTimes me, it literally is me sitting on a riverboat with an Amazon guide.
Your internet just works fine over there?
You know, it worked in the little town, but once you hit the river, no, there's no internet. There's no internet. You know what's even crazier? There's no charging.
Oh,
there was no power source.
So if your phone went out and for some reason you guys got lost, you're just screwed.
Well, yes and no. So you pay. We actually paid. Oh, let me get to that. Okay, so we went through this trip. We went to throughout Colombia, and then we flew to Leticia. So Leticia is this small city on Tres Fronteras. It's on the river, on the Amazon River, but it's a part of Colombia. They have like a little soccer stadium there. Mm-hmm. Everything sponsored by Coca-Cola. Because what you learn is during like World War II and during other times, Coca-Cola spent a lot of money to make sure that their brand reached all the troops, all the places. So Coca-Cola is everywhere. The whole city seems
even
like
places that don't really have water will have Coca-Cola.
That's the whole thing. And they have 2 types of Coca-Cola, regular Coca-Cola and sin azúcar, which means no sugar. And the regular Coke has red top and the sugar-free Coke has a black top. There's no Diet Coke. It's just without sugar. And so we literally went to Leticia, and then you kind of go to different what they would call agencies, you know, like kind of like a travel agency, but they're river guide agencies. So you go and you try and figure out which people do I trust to get me back alive. Yeah. That's kind of what you do. And they show you flip books. I'm talking no iPads. They're literally flipping books of printed out pictures of this is what you're going to see. This is where you're going to stay. This is what you're going to do. And so we chose one company, and the company ended up having like a little village, but it was 3 days, 2 nights in the jungle of an Amazon River. You go into Peru, parts of Peru, and all that kind of stuff, but you literally are in the Amazon jungle. So, as you said, what happens if your phone dies or anything like that? Well, you're out of pictures, right? You can't take any more pictures or anything, but you have no service anyways, and you're literally dependent on these guijas, which are the river guides, you know? Our river guide's name was Jin, Jhin. And he told us to call him Jin Loco, right? Crazy Jin. Crazy part about it was he had one bad hand. And I'm not saying that to be funny or anything like that, but he had an actual deformity on his hand where he kind of had like some messed up fingers. However, that dude was swinging the machete through the jungle with the bad hand because the good hand was carrying a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I went with my best friend who in the book, he's depicted as a bear. He's like a little bear. And it's because he's a big, tall, kind of hairy white dude. And he always tells everybody, call him Oso. And so
does he have a star on him in the book?
Yeah, so it's
Cowboy star.
Exactly. So as my best friend, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan and a Cal Bears fan, right? Yeah. And so he either always has a cow hat on or a Dallas t-shirt or something like that. So I put the little star on him. But in the book, we call him Oso Sin Nombre. And a lot of my Instagram photos, things like that, it has photo cred, Oso Sin Nombre. And so we just developed him into an actual book, a bear character in the book. And then I met one of my friends who has been a good friend since, Johan, who was a French traveler visiting the Amazon jungle. It was me, Oso, and Johan, and a guide for 3 days, 2 nights through the Amazon jungle.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What's even crazier is they don't really, they tell you, but they don't really tell you. So whatever you bring into the jungle is what you have for the next few days. And so we actually literally had to go get like whatever soda we wanted, whatever, you know, alcohol we wanted. So like I went and bought, and this is very bougie of me, but I don't really drink any hard alcohol like that. Yeah. So also got his bottles of rum to go with us, right? And then I had like 2 bottles of wine that I packed up, but also was carrying stuff in the plastic bag. And he literally was holding it from his pinky through the jungle for the first 3 hours. The first 3 hours are literally a jungle trek. And when I say the jungle, it's the real Amazon jungle. I was not scared, but on high alert. There would
Yeah.
be like a snake come across our path. And he's like, oh, look, the guide would tell us like in Spanish, oh, look, the snake. And so, you know,
like,
you
see
look,
that? That's the deadliest snake. That
well,
you're
you
far
look
away
down and then all of a sudden this big old long snake starts going. You're walking through and he's like, wait, stop. And he's like, look up there. And he's like macaws flying over you. Like really
What's
like
a macaw?
It's a Rio, like the birds from Rio,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So like macaws flying over you and all kind of just beautiful stuff. Monkeys jumping through trees. But Oso was carrying like 2 bottles of rum and 3 bottles of Coke in a plastic bag, and he lost the feeling in his pinky for like a couple weeks afterwards. Like where he got there, he's like, I can't feel my pinky anymore because he was literally, the bag was just cutting off the circulation to his pinky for
That's pretty scary.
for several hours. Yeah. So we went through the Amazon jungle. And we ended up at La Casa Flotante, which is the floating house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Lago Piranha, which is Piranha Lake. And so you literally, I'm talking shaking, getting into a boat, a little tiny, like what looks like a canoe with a motor on the back. And you're literally staying the night in a floating house in the middle of the lake. So they have no electricity because it's just a floating house. So there's nowhere to charge your phone.
Do
nothing
anacondas
like that.
exist in a place like this?
Specifically anacondas, I would have to get back to you on that. I don't know if specifically, but there are very deadly poisonous snakes. Let's put this.
But I'm
that way.
saying water swimming snakes.
Yes, there are definitely water swimming snakes. Again, I don't know specifically that anacondas were where we were, but you know, some type of water moccasin, things like that. What I can tell you we saw were a lot of caiman. So you have 3 types of like alligator type animals.
Okay, yeah.
You have
they're like
alligators.
the smaller alligators, right?
Yeah, you have alligators, you have crocodiles, and then you have caimans. And caimans, this is how they describe it. A crocodile will hunt you and kill you for food. An alligator will come after you if you mess with its home or its babies.
Mm-hmm.
A caiman will run away from you, right? So it's kind of like a different thing. But what they do also have is jaguars. They have jaguars in the jungle, and that's what eat the caiman, is the jaguars. And so I can remember one morning waking up and literally we saw like a 6 or 7 foot caiman just swimming across the water. And then we went on a night tour where our guide took us literally on a boat to go out and catch a caiman. And the caiman like float in the water, kind of like with their mouths like this, like waiting for some kind of fish or reptile or something.
So they
to
don't
go
really
by.
attack humans?
No, they don't really
Okay.
attack humans. But this dude grabbed a caiman out of the water, literally with his bare hands. And it was a little baby one. He said it was probably like 4 months old. It was like this big. But he literally snatched a caiman out of the water. I have a lot of this stuff on my Instagram and a lot of videos on
that's
there.
crazy.
But yeah, it was a crazy experience. So anyways, out of that, I wrote the book, you know, Where Is Uncle Jon? The Amazon Jungle. And it literally talks about my experience. But one of the things about the books is it's really meant to inspire and kind of like lift up the idea of going to these places. So I definitely put like a good spin on it for the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, here's some of the things we saw. Here's some of the things we ate. You know, there's all kind of good. We literally caught piranhas. So how we went piranha fishing, that was probably the scariest day. It's the first day that we're there. We get to the floating house. We put our stuff down. We're in mosquito tents, like, you know, you've seen on movies, where they have the nets.
Just like a mesh tent.
Exactly. It's you feel like a princess, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
like
it's like princess beds. Maybe they have that.
Exactly. You're like, oh, I feel so pretty, you know, but it's literally to keep these possibly malaria mosquitoes off of you. And
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, do you have like a lot of shots you need to take before going to a place like this?
that is one of the things. You have to go get like a yellow fever shot, malaria shot, all
Can't
that
that
kind of
also
stuff.
like trigger other side effects too, like get you like sick from that? That's what I've heard.
I think any kind of
Like vaccine.
any kind of vaccination can always have like a possible side effect. Luckily for me, I didn't have any, but to be completely honest, that was actually when I got my first COVID shot.
Yeah.
I had not gotten a COVID shot up until that point because I got COVID. I think honestly, I was one of the very first COVID patients in America. I'm serious.
Yo, you remember like it came to Elk Grove? Like that was like a thing. Like there was like an apartment building here. Like it all of a sudden got.
Yeah.
And it was like a few cases in New York and then like a few cases here. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but at the time I was trying to reconcile my relationship with someone, and we literally went to Mexico on like a trip, January 2020. That was when we went on our trip. We went to
You could have got stuck out there.
Dude, we went to Cabo January 2020, flew back, and literally when we got back, do you remember Alyssa had just came back from her, she was studying, I think for NCLEX, or what is it, the NCLEX or whatever, to become a nurse. She was studying to become a nurse,
what year?
right? This was late 2019. No, she had already been working.
She was probably studying for PCN or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. I remember that she was the family nurse, and I was sick for a couple days, and she just came by to check on me, and she's like, "Oh, it just seems like you have the flu," and I was like sick for a couple of days, just laid up in bed. No, like literally didn't even know it was COVID-19. You know what I mean?
That's right. I think we eventually found out, and we're like, dude, like I think we disinfected the house after that too.
Yeah,
because we were all living there at that time.
Yeah, everybody was there, and it was kind of like, yo, we don't want to get sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't get us sick. So anyway, so I got all my shots and everything. However, I will tell you this. Do not try and use American mosquito repellent in the Amazon jungle. It don't work.
No.
It does not work. I have pictures where my legs are all bit up, all kind of stuff like that. But most of that happened when we went out on our night walks and our night kind of like on the rivers. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. We went out to go fishing for piranha, and all we used, I kid you not, we had a stick, string, and pieces of chicken cut up. And he literally cut pieces of chicken and put them on a hook. And he was like, when you put it into the water and you feel something, yank it. And we were literally yanking piranhas out of the water and fishing that way. I mean,
eat piranhas?
To eat piranha.
Piranhas pretty good, or what does it taste like?
It tastes like chicken. I mean, that's kind of like the best.
Yeah.
It wasn't very fishy. I don't know if it was the way they prepared it.
Because I can't get down with the super fishy, but
no, and there are really thin fish. I mean, if you think about when you've seen a
Not a
piranha,
whole lot of meat.
Yeah, when you've seen a piranha,
I've
they
never
look
actually
really
seen
thin.
a piranha.
No, you never seen
Just
one?
cartoons.
Oh, okay. So if you ever look at a piranha, they're very thin based, right? But they have very sharp bones. And so when they cook them like whole, right? Like it's a whole fish cooked up. I don't think they have scales on them like that. So they don't have to descale them or anything, but they clean them up.
Wait, how do they attack? Their teeth or their bones?
Dude, they have razor sharp teeth. They have razor sharp teeth that will bite you. And they literally death by 1,000 small bites. I mean, that's literally what they do. So when you put the chicken in there, they're eating the chicken meat, like literally on, like just biting it. And so the way that they prepared them, they kind of like deep fried them almost.
Yeah. And
so when you deep fry them, the teeth kind of come out a little bit more, and they're razor sharp. And so what you have to do is you have to pull the top fin. You literally pull it out, and when you pull it out, it's like looks like little needles coming off the top fin. You pull that out, and then you have to kind of like separate it, and then you literally bite the meat and slide it off one half of the bone, and then bite the meat and slide it off the other half of the bone. It was kind of a crazy experience, but we had the piranha.
Is that all you're eating?
So they did piranha, pasta, and like
I was gonna say possum.
No. Piranha, pasta, and rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of like a basic kind
Carbs
of thing.
and protein.
Exactly. That's exactly what they give you. They load you up on carbs and protein. You're eating kind of like sandwiches during the day.
Yeah.
But they did make dinner. I mean,
Is that how they're living? Like off of that kind of stuff? Or?
Okay, so this is a funny conversation actually. So when we went to the different agencies to ask them like, where are we going? What are we doing? And so they tell you, like you're gonna go to a local village. And my friend Oso, he said, is it a real village, or like do they go home and sleep in their houses at night?
Like, is it like they're in a hut for show? Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a small town, but they do have like normal amenities for them. We kind of stayed in like a cabin. So those people are eating off the land. They're literally eating fish. They're not eating piranhas though.
Yeah.
They're eating like fish that they catch in nets and, kind of different things. They got, guava trees and banana trees and all kind of things that they're growing. But at the same time, it's their house, and the town is still only 45 minutes by boat. So they're eating, whatever they can afford. But literally going for the tour pays for the people in the village to live healthy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I can remember the village we went to was named after the tour company.
Yeah.
So it was like their families or whatever.
Isn't
you know?
it crazy when you go to another country and they're like super thankful for you being there? Because like that's
No,
like their
absolutely.
livelihood.
No,
Because
absolutely.
I know COVID screwed a lot of that up in a lot of places.
Absolutely. You know, part of that too is, it kind of changed my life in a way. I was very like, kind of money hungry and all that kind of stuff. And then you go to some of these places and you literally just kind of live with a backpack and you're kind of like,
You start to become more minimalist.
yeah, I don't really need much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and honestly, even to this day, a lot of my life, I kind of get that way. I have to kind of get myself out of that slump sometimes
Yeah.
because I'm content, you know what I mean? Like, and happy, like remembering that, Martha's over there still in Peru, like
That's a
literally
crazy
cleaning
thought.
the fish, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm over here complaining that I didn't get enough, steak.
They're dodging piranhas over there, and you're
Literally.
just,
Yeah, literally. I mean, no, let's even be realer than that. They were bathing in the Amazon River. Like you're in the village, and that's where you say, like, the village, like, yeah, they have access to the town again, but there was little kids there. There were people there living there, and they're literally taking a bath, washing their clothes in the Amazon River. Here's the other thing too, right? No running water. So how do you bathe? How do you take a shower? Like when they say, oh, go, we end up at like a cabin or something. They literally have these huge tanks that are on top of the houses and they catch rainwater or they're pumping in and filtering out the river water into these tanks and they're literally running by gravity.
Yeah.
And that's your running water. So I'm taking a shower, but it's with, rainwater or river water.
It is filtered though for some of it.
Nah, you still stink.
Yeah.
Like you still smell
That's
a little
just
bit.
like a net in there catching
It
stuff.
literally is that. You know what I mean? Like, the water, but you're not supposed to, you're not opening your mouth and drinking the water.
But
And
don't worry,
so-
the Coca-Cola is safe.
yeah, definitely. What happens when you run out of Coca-Cola though? You're
Yeah.
thirsty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the funny part is they had a like what they would call in the hood a candy house. Like they had a little storehouse. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
like, hey, you want a Coca-Cola? You want a thing? Yeah, and it's relatively.
The Compton houses.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I meant the candy house. Yeah, exactly. It's relatively cheaper than it is to buy stuff here, at like the gas station. But at the same time, like they're taxing you because they know what they're doing,
Yeah.
And they don't have little kids running yelling chicle, chicle, but they have kids going like, will you buy me a candy? You know what I mean? And that was one thing I liked about traveling with Oso was really big on, he would always buy a pack of dog treats because there's wild dogs places sometimes you go. And so he would have like a thing of dog treats. And then whenever we went to a store, he would always be like, buy the kids some candy. They'll love you for it. Like unprovoked, like without them asking. You'd see a kid at the store going, mama, quiero la dulce. And you just go, here's $1, give it to him. And you just made that kid's life. You know what I mean? And
How like what is like the difference in like our value of money compared to theirs?
like the exchange rate and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it all depends on where you go. When we went to Colombia, it was relatively kind of close to COVID, so everybody was hurting. So the exchange rate was pretty good. We were getting
like American dollar was worth a lot.
yeah. I mean, like let's put it this way. I think 3 days in the Amazon jungle with food and lodging and everything was like $80 each.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for 3 days in the jungle, I would probably say right now that's probably closer to like 120. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like because the market has
They
rebounded.
were hurting
a lot.
then.
Yeah, tourism was low. We were the only like ones there to go do that. You know what I mean? And I think like we had to like rent boots because we didn't have like mud boots.
Yeah.
And I think renting boots was like $5. You know what I mean? Like $10. Where I'm guessing now it's probably like 20. You know what I mean?
It's not like a nickel. I buy my own hotel.
yeah, exactly. No, but I will tell you, you can go to some of those places, man, and they have, for those of you out there who have thought about doing it or whatever, there are some places that are really affordable. You can get into like a hostel and you can work there. even as an American, you work there and what you get is your room for free and then usually like a meal or two for free.
Yeah.
And so you can find deals, you can find whatever, but a lot of the stuff that I've seen lately, the Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff, they're back up to the prices that they normally would be or even higher now. So
what's probably some travel tips that you have, or at least like your top 5? Like your
okay,
go-tos?
so
because now you've traveled quite a bit, and before you traveled like nationally, like right, like in the U.S. a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been around,
but like not outside of the
States.
U.S. too much before you started doing this traveling.
No, yeah. Well, even before this last few years, I had been to like Costa Rica and Mexico and different places, but never backpacking.
That's what I mean. Yeah, more like
never doing
the
that.
experience of actually like living in their culture and stuff.
So that's the difference between what we call traveling versus taking a vacation, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can take a vacation somewhere and you can stay in the resorts, you could pay the resort prices, do the resort excursions and all that kind of stuff. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. But if you want to go mix in the cultures, you want to go do that kind of things, that's what we call traveling, Or there's a word for it, vagabonding, you know what I mean? That's like a big thing, or just backpacking. But as far as travel tips, so number one, you got to stay open-minded. You got to remember that they're not American. And you would be surprised how many people go to places and they expect other people to speak English.
Yeah. Not when we went to Italy, well, the English part is funny, but saying like a little bit of what you're saying, we went through the town of like Florence, and they took us through the markets of like where you buy your meats, your cheese and all that. And we're eating like really expensive cheese. Like they're like, here, this is part of like your package. You get this. Everybody take a little bite here and tell me what you think. It's truffle cheese, like a pound of it costs like a couple $100 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, this is really expensive. And one of the guys goes, you ever tried Kraft American cheese? And then they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And he goes, he looks it up and they're like, that is not cheese.
Yeah, it's not cheese. Yeah, they're used to it off the roll, off the wheel, carving into it.
Yeah. So not everybody speaks English, and Americans go like with the like intent, like, oh, everybody's gonna know my language.
And that's rule number 2 is try to stay away from other Americans. Because that's not why you're there, right? I mean, for most people, like if you want to go and experience culture, we would have a non-American rule.
Right.
We're going to try, even if we're hanging out with other travelers, we want to meet someone from the UK or from Spain or from France. That's how we met Johan. Johan was in with us on our trip through the jungle, and it was like we were able to literally have conversations about like your government, my government, your policies, my policies, your country, my country. That's when I learned my favorite French phrase, jamais deux sans trois, never two without three. And so that's like what
does that mean?
So it's like if you're having at the time it was about beers, right? So you have like a beer, then you have another one, and you go, should we get another one? And he's like, jamais deux sans trois, never two without three. But it can go for like tacos, right?
Yeah.
Like I had 2 tacos, should I have another one? Never 2 without 3.
Yeah.
Or it can go for
Gotta
people.
have 3
It can go for
tacos.
people, like, hey, you want to join us? Like jamais deux sans trois, never 2 without 3. You know what I mean? Like the more the merrier is kind of the idea.
I would definitely forget that phrase, but I try and live by that.
when I went through the Amazon jungle, and this is what, and this is, I'm apolitical these days, right? So I don't have a fight in any race, but that's where I met a lot of Israelis. Was the Amazon jungle for the first time, and it was really cool to sit with some Israelis from Israel. And the thing you learn is that everybody in Israel has to serve in the military. And they serve in the military.
I was like, control the weather. No, I'm just kidding. Just go ahead.
That's funny. But no, it's kind of like you get to hang out with people and you learn like, oh, everybody here is like 24, 25. They done their 2 to 3 years of military service. And before they go into their careers or into university, they travel the world. Now, some people will say because they're CIA spy or they're Israeli spies out looking around the world or whatever, or you just understand that that's their culture. You know what I mean? And so you get to meet a lot of people from different places of the world. I met some really cool guys from the UK. That's what kind of like sparked my interest when I went to the UK this summer, was like I had met dudes from the UK, from London, from Birmingham, from Manchester, traveling already. And it was like, oh, I can't wait to go and see their home country one day, you know? And it's like, I had like some Nike Pegasus on. They go, hey, bro, it's a sweet pair of Peggies. And you're like, oh, cool, Peggies. That's what I'm going to call them now. And I started calling my Nike Pegasus Peggies. You know what I mean? Like,
that's dope.
Yeah, it was cool. So, you get to experience a lot of things like that. And the Amazon jungle, though, is a crazy place. I literally got to swim with pink dolphins. Like, not trained in some little setting.
Why are they pink?
They just are. Because
there's not blue like there's blue, like what blue gray dolphins.
Blast from the past, right? Well, why does it go to the egg? Because it must.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say Joe Dirt, where he's like, it just does.
Yeah, exactly. But no,
me and Johnny are both cinephiles. Like,
for sure.
We could quote movies back to back
for sure. But there's part of the river that is salted and has like salt water. Then there's part of the river that is freshwater and has freshwater fish. There's part of the river that has piranhas, and they're only in this part. And then there's part of the river that it's safe for you to jump in and swim. And there's so many different channels and areas. And so we literally got to see pink dolphins. I don't know why they're pink, but that's where like the brand Pink Dolphin comes from, is that the Amazon.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, the Amazon jungle has pink dolphins, and it's just a weird, like what they would call rosada, like a weird kind of pink rosy dolphin that lives out there. I don't know, part of evolution or whatever you want to call it, but that's what they are. And that was the part. Now it's kind of crazy to spend a whole day like, don't put your fingers in the water, don't touch the water, there's piranhas in it. So the next day, like, okay, it's safe for you to swim here. It's like, are you sure? You know what I mean? Like, are you sure? But it was, we got to jump in and swim. And then, like I said, we went on a couple night walks and different things where they're like, oh yeah, look down there. See that spider? It was called the assassin spider. It was like one bite and you're dead. And then the next day, we're going on a jungle trek with this guy who is a snake expert, but he's got 4.5 fingers. And you're like, what happened? He's like, oh, I went to go pick up a snake that I thought was safe, and it wasn't. And he literally got bit. He has the marks and part of his arm cut out and one of his fingers missing.
So it didn't take off his finger. He probably got venom.
It was venom.
They had to stop it by cutting it off.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh. Well, it kind of like dead and decayed his finger out.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so it like dead. They had to cut out
like flesh-eating venom or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that it's fleshy, but it literally killed part of his hand. They had to cut out the part of his arm. And it said, yeah, but that's my homie Sergi Travels on Instagram. SERGI Travels. He has a cool page, and he's still picking up snakes to this day, which is great. Now, that guy was very interesting because you come to find out that he actually got, he was a refugee from the Medellin Pablo Escobar days, like when the drug cartels and
refugee
everything.
To where?
He went and lived in Sweden. He was raised in Swiss. He speaks French, Swiss German, and Spanish, and English, obviously, also. But he was raised in Switzerland, but kind of like as a third world citizen. They treated him not the best. He didn't get, whatever, but he didn't have to live in Colombia during war-torn and, narco-torn Colombia days. But he came back to the jungle because he wanted to learn, like, how to live out there and all that kind of stuff. And
Swedish culture is a little different.
It's crazy. It is really crazy. He speaks Spanish with a French accent. It's really, really crazy. But it was also pretty cool, like, to just learn and hear his story. And like, literally, I follow him on Instagram still. We chop it up.
Who was this guy? Was he was there as like a guide, or was he?
So when we were in the floating house, it was like another jungle tour came and stood with us also. So it was like us four, we arrived just together.
But he was traveling, or was he?
No, he was a guide.
He was a guide. Okay,
yeah, he was a guide. He was a guide. But
that's crazy to go live in another country for a while and then come back and do
he was
like
fully raised over there. Like he was fully raised.
Like he didn't need to come back, probably.
No, he could have stayed there, but he hated it there. He was, he was like very anti-colonial, colonist, anti-colonial, kind of like, I'm back in my country. But then he was also kind of like had experienced life at a high level to where it's like, he also was content and happy. But So crazy thing was our guide, Jin, with the messed up hand and everything, he comes from like very native people. Like his grandmother still lived in the village where he was born or whatever. Even though he lives in town, his grandma, all them, they're from the jungle, like the jungle, right? He's Peruvian. And so when he got bit, it was like late in the afternoon, and Jin had to take him by boat through the river at night to like the local place, to local hospital. But it was like a 6 or 7 hour boat ride through the Amazon at night to get there. Like, you know how good you have to be able to navigate the Amazon River at night? Like there's all kind of channels and turns.
Yeah, because it doesn't even matter if you have like a really nice light or anything traveling you through there. Like there's no city light. Like
there is no nice light. Like there's no.
But you're relying on your own light that you're creating, and you could probably only see up to a certain distance, and you're just traveling.
You're literally just going by what you know.
Scary.
Dude, can you imagine? Like he was in the boat hanging on to his dear life, like hoping that Jin could get him to the hospital in time to get the anti-venom to whatever this snake was that bit him.
That's
insane,
crazy.
dude. Insane. I have like I had a phone that had all this captured on it and everything. I lost that phone, but I have some of the stuff still on like my Instagram, like because I uploaded it there where it's like shows his hand and everything. It's insane.
So we're probably on like tip 3.
Okay, so tip 3. So number 1 was keep an open mind. Number 2,
Not everybody speaks English.
No, that was the first one. What was my tip 2?
Don't hang around the same. Like
don't hang out with Americans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is not, I'm pro America, but it's just like, that's
learn
what
something
you want.
new, experience something, learn their culture.
I would say number 3, which is goes with number 1, but try the food. You know what I mean? Like, now I will tell you where I didn't try the food one time was when we went to Peru. They have something called cuy. It's literally like a cooked hamster.
Hell no,
dude! It literally on the like like when you open a menu, you're like, oh, that burrito looks good. Oh, that taco looks good. It literally looks like a little hamster.
Yeah, there's like certain limits you have to have. Like typically you would eat like certain meats and stuff. Rodents aren't typically something we eat here, and that's just crazy to think about.
Exactly. But over there, they grow them to eat them.
Like there's a picture of Jeff Bezos eating iguana, like roasting.
Exactly.
Iguana. I probably would never do that.
Exactly.
This is crazy to me.
So that's
alligator I might eat. Iguana is crazy.
Yeah,
it's like a rodent.
So that's the part where try the food. Even if you get a little stomach sick or whatever, or you don't like it, like try the food because you're not going to find it anywhere else here. And even if you find it here, it's going to be some other version. Like for instance, I had not been big on empanadas until I traveled through most of South America. And most of South America eats empanadas, whether they're beef, cheese,
I'm
or
not the
their
biggest
breakfast.
person on. I mean, we didn't really have them growing up.
No, but our version of empanadas were like the sweet ones, right? Like almost looks like a McDonald's apple pie, but it's like an empanada. But over there, you can get like a beef and cheese empanada, but buy like 2 of them. And then what they usually have is them in a case, and there's like an empanada lady who makes them at her house, and she just brings and restocks the case every day. Yeah. And then so you order it, and then they warm it up for you in like a toaster oven. You know what I mean? And so, that was like how I tried the piranha. You know what I mean? I ate all kind of different types of fish. I was not a big fish person until I traveled through most of South America.
Really? You look like a fish to me.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things
stupid dad joke.
Well, we never really, we had fish sticks, you know what I mean, growing up.
I'm sure
what are you, a gay fish?
I'm sure you like fish sticks.
Yeah, but I never really liked fish sticks. Like it just never, you know why? Because in my mind, it went with tartar sauce, and I'm not a big tartar sauce person.
Oh, really?
No, I don't like tartar sauce. I like cocktail sauce.
I like both. I like to have both on a plate. And
yeah.
Like, I feel like this for this one.
Yeah. So I never was like that. But when I started traveling a lot, it was like.
But I feel like you've made tartar sauce before.
I mean, I probably have, you know what I mean? Put a little relish and some
mayo. But you'll
mayo.
make it, but don't really care for it?
No, I don't care for it at all nowadays. Like, it's just not my thing. Like, tartar sauce is just not my thing. Honestly, I'm not, this is kind of weird because it goes contradictory to our family. I'm not a big mayo person anymore. Yeah. Like, I just don't eat a lot of mayo at all. And we just kind of like, it doesn't, our dad, he would.
Actually, I'm not either. I would take like avocado over mayo.
Yeah, but our dad, me and you are a sour cream team. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take some sour cream on my sour cream. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like our dad would take a big old scoop of mayo and just put it on his plate, and it would always be like, ugh. Like, you know what, this is actually a whole aside, but you know what got me off of mayo was when Dad used to put his plates in the sink and the mayo would float on top. And that always grossed me out to like wash the dishes. And I'd be like, ew, why did you just toss your mayo or rinse it off? Like, and it would just be like white cream. It disgusts me. But anyways.
Dad's like the extra mayo for me, please.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's pretty good at it.
Brother.
He's pretty good about it nowadays, but
he's very conscious about it now.
Yeah, but back in the day, man, we would go through mayonnaise jars.
Put that image in my head. Now I can't stop thinking about it. The mayo just like floating in the water.
Dude, that grossed me out. So it still grosses me out to this day. But anyways, but yeah, try the foods. And then another thing, another tip for traveling, is be conscious of your make a budget and try and stick to it, because you can get really excited and like buy gifts and all kind of things, but then you gotta travel with them or carry them or whatever. And I've like one of my first trips, I brought like something back for everybody, and then after I realized like they're just the same knickknacks that get either thrown away or whatever, I just kind of started being more conscious of my budget and things like that. And then I would probably say my biggest tip of all: whenever you travel outside the United States, learn where the embassy is. Because I
don't think I've ever done that.
Okay, if you don't know where the U.S. Embassy is, God forbid you ever get robbed or anything like that, the only thing that you cannot get back from a Union embassy is your passport.
Yeah.
And when I went to Brazil, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I got not robbed like somebody mugged me, but I fell asleep.
Take it all from Euro trip.
Yeah, I fell asleep on a bus. When I went to Brazil, I went to Carnival, and Carnival is from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I was up all night long, and then I took a bus in the morning at like 8 a.m. to another part of Brazil, and I just passed out on the bus. And I literally had like a fanny pack kind of like not around my waist, but it was like sitting next to me.
It was just you on the bus?
It was just me. Yeah, I was solo traveling through Brazil.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was an awesome experience. But I ended up getting my passport and my passport and a couple other things that I had, like mostly my toiletries and stuff like that were in that fanny pack. Someone just took it off the bus. And, I was passed out. It was next to me. But I had to figure out where the embassy was. Luckily, I still had my phone. When you go to an embassy, you can't take your phone or anything with you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a security measure.
Like lockdown kind of.
Yeah, you literally can't take anything in there with you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. When you think about it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. You can't take any like videos or pictures or anything inside the embassy. So I had to go to the embassy and I had to get an emergency passport, which cost me, I think, it was like $120.
What is an emergency like? What does it look like and stuff?
So it's pretty much the version of your passport, but it's like only 3 or 4 pages thick, and it's kind of like printed then.
What is a passport card? Because I see those sometimes. Like,
it's funny. I actually have my passport with me. So I don't have a passport card, but the new passports, they have like this hardened version. Like, yeah. I don't think yours probably has this, but does yours have that hard card like that? So I think a passport card is similar to this, but it's like a smaller version that it's pretty much like a international ID. You know what I mean? And it's like a version, but I think that goes for people who are like diplomats or stuff like that. Like rather than carrying an actual passport book that's going to get stamped, they just show their passport card. So
yeah, my buddy forgot to bring his passport, but he had his passport card when we went to Mexico, and when he came back, they wouldn't let him back.
Oh, really?
So he had to fly from Cabo to like whatever the city, Mexico City or whatever that city is before you get to California, and they had to rent a van and go across.
Oh, wow.
So they'll let him in.
To Tijuana, right?
Yes, Tijuana. So they'll let him in with the card, but they won't
let him
fly.
Yeah.
Which
that's
is
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it makes sense in the long scheme of things, but it's like, clearly, he's like U.S. citizen.
The only cool thing about getting the emergency passport was one of the stipulations was when you get home, you get a new passport, but you don't have to pay again for it. Mm-hmm. So when you get an emergency passport, they literally printed it. It was like, it'll be ready in 4 hours. So I left, like had lunch, came back. and they had it ready, and I got my passport and made it home.
So potentially, can somebody come here as you?
You know, I
Have you thought of
they
that?
would have to really look like me. They would have to really look like me.
Pretty sure somebody in Brazil could look like you.
You know, I don't think anybody where I was stole it for that reason. It would have just been for monetary. Because I went from like Rio de Janeiro to where they call Buzios, which is kind of like, it's like going, it literally is going from Los Angeles to like Monterey. Like it's nice, it's, you know, but it was probably somebody working, you know what I mean, going there to work there rather than going there for vacation, and they just were probably looking for money. There was no money, there was not a lot of cash or anything like that.
They probably didn't really need the passport. They're probably just taking stuff out of your bag.
Oh yeah. Well, I can tell you at the time what they probably got was like, you know, a THC pen. That was probably like the only thing that I lost in there. However, that was actually that trip. That trip was really crazy because I went there for our cousin's fight. That was when Jose had his fight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
you were there.
That was when Jose had his fight in
I've
Sao
actually
Paulo.
talked to him about coming on the pod before. He was very interested. But
Yeah. But he had his fight in Sao Paulo. So I went for a couple of weeks ahead of time before the fight to go like experience it. And that weekend was the weekend that Annie Vaughn passed away. And so when I was there, and no, not Annie Vaughn. It was Tejan. That was the weekend Tejan passed away. And I like got crazy drunk, like stupid, you know, kind of out of
like emotion.
Yeah, out of sadness and misery and then whatever. And I actually had to slip and fall off of a balcony. And I fell 10 feet off a balcony. I don't know if I ever told you that. Yeah.
That's great. Dude, you're Brazilian as heck.
No, my Brazil trip was crazy. That's why I haven't written that story yet, because it's kind of like, what do I say? What do I say? You know what I mean?
Don't have too much fun. You might fall off a balcony.
It
kids.
was a really crazy experience, that whole trip. Like, because I went to Rio de Janeiro, and this was in April, and Carnival was in February, but because they had canceled Carnival, remember I told you because of COVID, they canceled Carnival? Well, we were in Colombia in February. I went back to Brazil by April. I had like a really good job that I was doing at the time. And so I wrapped up my job and I went to Brazil like within 2 months of being in Colombia. And they randomly replanned Carnival in April. And I just happened to be there. I was literally eating pizza at a restaurant on the beach, and I was looking at TV, and I go, "Oh, is that last year's Carnival?" And they're like, "No, it's going on right now. It's the whole week." Yeah. And I was like, "I thought they canceled it." They go, No, they just rescheduled it." And I was like, "What?" And then I tried to look online for like a ticket, and all the tickets were sold out. And this guy was like, "I know somebody. Meet me on the beach tomorrow." And I was like, all right. Yeah. And I literally brought
By the way, that sounds super sketchy.
It did, but it was like the manager of the pizza place. You know what I mean? So it was like, he was just looking for his come up. You know what I mean? He was like, he was like, bring 120 American tomorrow and I'll get you a ticket. And then on the ticket, it says, you know, like it has like the February date, but then it has a sticker over it that says April. And you're like, and they're like, no, I promise it's the right one. And I was like, all right. And I made it to Carnival. So that's actually, I think the next book that I'm going to write is Where Is Uncle Jon, Brazil. So anyways, to get back to what we were originally talking about, those are my travel tips. Definitely learn where the embassy is, because the embassy is super important in case you have any emergencies. But the first book that I wrote was the Where Is Uncle Jon, the Amazon Jungle, has all that information. And then the next one that I wrote was Where Is Uncle Jon, Patagonia. And so that was when I took my trip to Patagonia, what I call a part of the Amazing Race. And that was remember that show, The Amazing Race, back in the day? Was on TV. It was a reality show. But we did 5,000 miles in 5 weeks. We landed in Lima, Peru, and we went all the way down to Patagonia, in the Patagonia of Chile and Argentina.
Are you super like sore after all this? Like travel? Like if because you're walking, you're saying?
No, we didn't. I mean, we didn't walk 5,000 miles, but
no, I'm not saying during that, but I'm saying like a lot of through like these areas you're going to be walking.
You know what's funny? I would not count. I would say I was never sore because I actually lost a lot of weight.
Plantar fasciitis like me.
Yeah, but I lost a lot of weight too. You have to remember that. Like, remember
you're changing up your eating and all that too.
Completely. Well, that and you're walking. where maybe you walk 7,000 steps to 10,000 in a day. You know what I mean? Like here is like good 10,000 steps. You're walking like 15 to 18,000 just because you're going to different places. You're experiencing different things. You know what I mean? Like you're just walking around, but then you're not eating any fast food. You're eating completely more clean, even like the breads.
So I guess the balance of like a better diet and exercising at the same time.
Yeah, eating less and walking more. Who knew
I'm saying,
you would
like,
lose weight?
You're probably not getting as sore from like the working out part because of like the healthy diet part.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, like when you're walking a lot and you're eating healthy and cleaner, and for me, that was going from like weighing like 230 down to like 210. You know what I mean? Like you just feel better. Like you're feeling good and you're not missing any meals. And you know what I mean? You're still eating like pizza and different kind of things, but it's a lot less additives. It's a lot less, like for instance, the cheese is literally coming from a cow down the road versus, you know what I mean? Like just from a large plant or something like that these restaurants, might be using here versus over there. It's just different, you know what I mean? But also too, you're drinking beers and doing different kind of things. But you're just staying active, you're just being very active. And then, I'm a dancer too. So I'm over there dancing, having a good time, going out, like living it up, having fun. But we never had like any like heavy club nights or anything crazy like that. We're not buying like bottle services, trying to ball out.
You could do that here. So it's like, actually, why even do that there?
So, well, I will tell you though, now that I said that, I will tell you when we went to, it was a place called La Boca, but it was in Cartagena. So Cartagena is famous from that Will Smith movie, Gemini Man, where they made like a clone of him.
Yeah, I've never watched it, but I know like the VFX breakdowns of it are just terrible.
Oh, okay. So there is I think that was a lot of the first AI use for a lot of the regeneration.
I don't think it was AI. I think it was the what did they used to call that? Where they put faces on other people.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what that was called.
Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, it was like a face swap effect, right? Mm-hmm. Like where they just put like a younger face on the actual Will Smith.
Yeah.
So there's a famous scene where he's chasing him through Cartagena. I actually stayed like on that street right there. But we went to Cartagena. This is COVID had just kind of like ended. The whole area is kind of like coming back to life, but it's still very fresh. And we walked into like a club because we went on a day tour, like with, you sign up for an excursion and then you're with, 12 to 13 people all day long. You know what I mean? So we made friends with like a couple couples, and then we made friends with, was a couple from Mexico, a couple from Colombia, and then there was a British chick that we made friends with. And all of us were like, well, let's go out tonight. Let's all go have dinner and go out. And we're like, all right, yeah, we'll go have a good time. So we walk into this club. I remember walking to this club in Cartagena. And it was like music was going and it seemed cool. And there was like a balcony area and it was empty. And we're like, hey, what's up there? And they're like, oh, you have to buy a bottle to sit up there. And we're like, oh, that's like the VIP, And so I go, let me see the price list. And I remember calculating it. And it was like a bottle of champagne was like $22. And I was like, give me two. Yeah. Like, we're going up there, And I remember dancing the night away, literally. And they thought I was a nut, because like nobody else was just walking around with a bottle of champagne. I'm like just walking around the whole club with a bottle of champagne in my hand, just wilding out a little bit, but just having fun. And I remember the locals, they did like a dance thing. They were teaching like a dance or whatever. And I ended up walking on stage next to them. And there was like 3 little outlets on the stage.
You're all walking past them?
No. Yeah. I was literally on the stage like walking out. This is not in the book, but this is just additive. I literally was on the stage dancing with the performers, like just figuring out their moves. You know what I mean? Like just mimicking whatever they were doing. It was a lot of fun. But like just having fun like that is it was the group that we had and the experience that we had during the day, and then a night out to kind of top it off. Man, you can't replace that. You know what I mean? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But and then the next book I just put out recently for the Where Is Uncle Jon series was in Guatemala, and that was a place that I did get sore because in the Guatemala book, as it's depicted, so Johan, who I met in the Amazon jungle. He is in the book. His name is Lil Yo. which is kind of cool. Kind of like, hey, gave him like a rapper name, you know, Lil Yo.
That does sound like a rapper.
Yeah, Lil Yo, but his name is Johan, and he comes from the city of Lille, France. So it was a good name,
cool,
Lil Yo. Yeah, Lil Yo. But we met him in the Amazon jungle. He was with us on the guide tour through the Amazon. And so when you spend 3 days in a jungle with somebody, they kind of become your buddy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he kind of became like a little brother to me and Oso. And so he hit me up about a year later. And he was like, hey, bro, I'm thinking of going to Guatemala to climb Acatenango. Do you want to go with me? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And so I literally flew to Antigua. Well, you fly to Guatemala City, and then I took a bus to Antigua, and I literally met up with him in Antigua. And then the next day, we went and we paid for our hike up to Acatenango. And Acatenango is it was once a volcano that is now dormant. It had blown off and erupted.
They say dormant.
Right, yeah. But it is a dormant volcano, and right next to it is Fuego, which is another volcano that is super active. Fuego is a volcano. I swear to God, I have there's a YouTube channel called, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Afar TV, AFAR TV, but they have like cameras, or they're
streams.
They're plugged into streams around the world. Like whenever a volcano goes off or like a crazy storm goes off, they always have like a live stream camera that they're plugged into, which I wonder how they do that. But
Pied Piper.
Oh, okay. I wonder how they do that, but
That's for the Silicon Valley reference.
It's somehow they're like redirecting a geographic survey website or something that has that camera there. Because there's no way this company has all these cameras mounted.
Yeah, so it's
the world.
probably a like literally there's probably a stream key that they attach to.
Okay, that makes sense. So like
it's something similar to that, but it's probably like NDI.
So like let's say the National Geological Survey gives out their stream key, and then
or they license it.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
They're a pretty popular channel. Like they get a lot of views when I'm on there.
They're definitely licensing it then, because they're probably making money off it.
It's crystal clear too. It's like in 4K. You know what I mean? Like a very good camera. But Fuego is very popular and very well known for going off. And then actually Acatenango.
Yeah, I got to look up that channel. That's very interesting to me.
Dude, it's dope because you'll just get a notice and it'll be like, this volcano is firing off. And you know, we usually will see it on Instagram a day or two later, but I'm getting the update on YouTube like right away. And like, whoa.
It's just volcanic activity?
It's volcanic activity and like major like earthquakes and stuff like that. But it's mostly that kind of stuff. But anyways, we went, so me and Johan, we hiked Acatenango. Dude, it is a 14,000 foot hike. And you go I think we probably started at elevation, probably like 2,000. And you literally hike
going up.
Yeah, because you drive up the mountains a little bit to get to the base of the volcano. Well, the mountain is really what it is. And you go to so first that you get picked up from your hotel. So they pick you up in the morning at like 6 a.m. Then they take you to kind of like what the outfitter's place. And so you go to the it was actually called CA Travelers, like California Travelers. But it was called CA Travelers. We went to the CA Travelers office and they equip you with everything. They give you your lunch. They give you like a light. They give you a warm, if you don't have a warm enough jacket, because you're going up 14,000 feet. So it's a lot of wind and everything up there. They give you everything you need and everything packed up. Like, here's what you need to take with you. Here's what you don't. And then you get to the base and you're probably at at 2,000 elevation, but you have to hike to 12,000 the first day. So you're talking 10,000 feet in like 8 or 9 hours.
That's crazy.
It was insane. It was the hardest thing mentally and physically.
And you're dealing with different elevations at that point.
Dude, it was the hardest thing mentally and physically I've ever done in my entire life. I'm talking, I had to push myself. But one thing I did do, and this is I didn't cheat, but it helped out the locals, was I paid for a Sherpa. So I paid for this little old man who put me to shame, but he carried my backpack. Yeah, it was like
It's actually kind of clutch.
it was like $40. Like, hey,
Like he does this all the time.
yeah, well, it was like, hey, do you want to have to carry your backpack and struggle like the entire time? Or you want to pay $40 and have this guy and he gets work. It's, 2 days worth of work for him. It's the day we go up and the day we come down. And it was like, yeah, I'll pay him. You know what I mean? Crazy part is then you get up there and there are literally ladies carrying, like boulders or something on their head. Like, I'm not lying. There was a lady who had like a whole tree trunk and she was just carrying it. And you're like, she has no, like I'm in, hiking shoes and all that kind of, she had nothing. She was just walking in sandals. They're just used to it. It's just what they do. But yeah, you go up. And so again, hardest thing I've ever done in my life. You take a couple breaks, like 2 or 3 different breaks. On the first break, they actually have like a little cafe shop. You can get coffee and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But then you get to those last points, man, and you're like, there's no way I can keep going.
Yeah.
And luckily you're with 18 other people and they're like, come on, bro, like you have to make it. Da, da, da. So then you go to what they call base camp, but it's not at the base. It's just the camp or high camp. And so you get up to the high camp and that's at like 12,000 feet. Mm-hmm. And we got up there probably like maybe 5, 6 in the evening, and it's like, okay, make sure you go to bed tonight because we're going to wake you up at 5 a.m. and we have to summit the mountain before, a certain time period. And so we literally had like dinner by the fire. Some more Israelis that I met there. I say that because I have a really cool video.
Spying everywhere.
It's one of those things that you just kind of come to learn that they're traveling. But I have a really cool video of a woman. She's singing in Yiddish. Like she actually sang a whole song by the campfire on the mountain. But the whole time that you're sitting there, you're watching Volcan Fuego erupt. And it was insane. Like the volcano next to you is just going off.
Yeah. What is the distance probably between those volcanoes from like where you're at? And
oh man, I suck at that to tell you, but I would say
super far off in the distance though.
No. You know how far it's not? Is you had the option once we got to the base camp, so like probably about 10 of the people that we were with, including Johan, they actually went for a hike for another 2.5 hours to go hike over to Volcan Fuego.
So you hike up to the top of this inactive volcano and then you could walk on over while you're up there?
Exactly. And they were literally
crazy.
They were literally on the edge when the volcano was erupting. Like they were not on the edge, like at the top, but on the side of it. I have videos
after
of it.
watching that video,
I have
you were
videos
showing
and pictures
us,
of
like,
it.
I don't have any interest in going near that.
So that's the crazy part was I never really understood a full eruption of a volcano until I watched some of that like Mount St. Helens video and all that kind of stuff to understand like the pyroclastic explosion and all that, whatever. This is just a volcano that's spewing. But I've watched now from that YouTube channel where those people were standing, it was pretty like close to where
zone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But they went to just a part where you're on the side that it doesn't really spill onto or anything like that. But that was crazy. That was insane for them to do.
Still sketch.
It's a heck of sketch. Cool thing was though, is I actually have a dope video where I was showing the people we were hanging out with, I was playing Noche music, La Noche Oscura. And so when the volcano went off, my phone was playing.
For those who don't know, my brother JJ was in a ska band for a long time called La Noche Oscura.
Yeah, and so I have a dope video where it's like, and it's just like the volcano is just erupting and spewing out. It's insane.
So what would you say was keeping you going during that, where you felt like you couldn't keep going anymore?
Just not wanting to be the one who didn't make it up. Self-shame, I guess.
It's like, it's a cutaway. It's like you giving up, and then the cutaway is the Sherpa carrying you.
Well, here's the funny part is, like I said, there was about 18 of us.
Yeah.
When everyone left in the morning, we all started out together in the morning. It was 4 of us, and then a guy who stood back with us who were way behind everybody else. And they called us Los Despacitos, the slow ones. And so which is
perfect, turtle.
When we made it up to the top, everybody else was walking back down already. But we made it up there. And so that's like the cool video I have where I'm like spinning around. There's like 4 or 5 of us just at the top. And it was like me, a couple guys from Australia who were with us. And obviously they're from Australia. So they're used to being like below sea level. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They were having a hard time with the breathing. Like like the acclimating to the elevation and everything like that. And then there are big dudes on top of that. Like one was older and tall, and one of them was like kind of bigger than me. And then one of the Israeli girls, and then her friend, and then one of the guys that just kind of was like, I'm gonna stay with them, you know, to make sure that they make it. And so there was a point, you know, where you're climbing and you're on literally volcanic rock that is like gravel. And so you're taking 2 steps up and sliding down one, and taking 2 steps up and sliding down one. It was insane. It was, like I said, it was the hardest thing I ever done in my life. But our cousin Brandy had just passed also. And it was kind of like I dedicated my summiting of Acatenango to her. And I just kind of told myself, this is probably the only time I'm ever going to do something like this.
Yeah.
So I want to do it. You know what I mean? And so I did it. But that is the latest book that I wrote, is Where Is Uncle Jon, Guatemala. And so, well, that was the latest from the Where Is Uncle Jon series. And then
it seems like you're branching off now a little bit. And
yeah. So we had Christmas come up this year, and our family Christmas gift idea was that everybody had to hand make a gift. Who came up with that? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Crystal.
I'm pretty sure it was Crystal too, which is funny because even for JJ, you would think like, oh, JJ's good at stuff. And he was like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Dude, because it's like, it's one thing to buy somebody something they really want, need, or like.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be like, I have to hand create something.
And hope they like it.
Yeah. And it's like, I spent my effort and time into this. I'm pretty sure they'll like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's like way more of a challenge than just buying somebody something. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
And so when that proposition was put to us, we probably had like a month? They probably gave us like a month, maybe like 5 weeks.
I think you guys knew way before me. And then randomly I just got a name in my text message. I was like, what is this for? And then
okay, well, so that was the day that I started, because you can't really, even before then, I don't know what I don't know who I have.
Yeah,
so the day we got, that was like the day after Thanksgiving, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had about a month. Let's say a month.
Yeah, that's good.
So we had about a month to make something for somebody in our family.
Yeah.
And it was an exchange. So everybody got somebody's name, and I got your wife. I got Alyssa's name, and and it was kind of one of those things where when I got the name, I was like, what the heck am I going to make? And so for a couple of days, I was like thinking, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll like make a shirt. That was actually my first idea. Was I have one of those.
I had the same idea for mom.
I have one of those heat presses in my room.
Yeah.
I can make like Jonah and, you know, Everly's hero or something like that, right? You know, like, or maybe I'll make her a hoodie and, you know, like put something on it. You know, I just had all these ideas. And then I was like, maybe I can write her a book, because I had been doing the books, you know, like with the Where Is Uncle Jon stuff. And then I was like, nah, that'll take a lot. Like, that's a lot to write a whole book.
Yeah.
Like, and because I knew from doing the other ones how long it took me. And the one thing about my books, I will say, all my books have been handwritten, literally physically by hand. I printed out, I found this creator on YouTube. He was kind of zesty and kind of funny. Like, dude, you know, he was like, hey, here's how I do it. Yeah. But he had a really good technique. He had like this 2-page, or it was a 1 page, and then had 2 squares, and it was kind of like pages laid out, and it had lines below it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I printed them out, and I hand wrote the books by hand, first, the words in the books. And then I used ChatGPT to do the illustrations. But when I did the illustrations, luckily I got like a little bit of Photoshop skills in me to where I kind of mostly made the characters.
I know that plays a part in like both of our lives. Like we're able to like plug that kind of like knowledge into those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like just the Photoshop app on my phone, but actually like I downloaded the new version, the Creative Suite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I signed up as like a professor or teacher or stuff like that. So I got the cheaper version, but I plugged into it, and I know how long it takes to actually get it done, because as good as AI and ChatGPT is, it's not that great all the time. You know what I mean? Like you get errors, you get having to prompt it correctly or get it exactly what you want. You're never going to get that. So I had learned how hard it was to get the characters locked in the way I wanted them to. And then sometimes, even if you put the character in the prompt with it, it's still going to come out different sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, hey, that wasn't there before.
Yeah. What's funny is if you actually flip through some of my books, you'll see I have completely clean shaved or like a 5 o'clock shadow. And that's just ChatGPT that decided this picture, you're going to have a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
But that's how I rock my facial hair a little bit, is either just like my little goatee or a 5 o'clock shadow. You know what I mean? So it did that. But I was like, maybe I can write her a book. And I was like, nah, the book will take like way too long. I don't think I'll be able to get that done and publish it before Christmas. And that was one of the things, was like, I have to get it done, I have to publish it, and then I have to order it. And we actually share an Amazon account. So I was like, and I have to have somebody else order it for me, or else she's gonna see it pop up on the Amazon account.
And she's nosy too. She'll go look through everybody's
Exactly. So I was like, nah, I'll figure something else out. And then I was almost set on like making her a hoodie or something like that. And then I just could not shake this idea of writing the book. So I was like, okay, like, what am I going to write a book on? And it was like, well, I really, just coming from a space of admiring who Alyssa is as a person. And also too, literally, I mean, me and you went together to go drop her off at college. Like we literally took the van, packed her stuff up and dropped her off at college. I know how hard she's worked to be a nurse. And I know that, some people can say, well, nursing is this, nursing is that. Like, no, it takes a lot to be a nurse, and then a lot to be a good nurse. You know what I mean? And so I've always admired that about her. And I was just like, it would be really cool to write a perspective from Olivia Rose, you know what I mean? Her alias. But yet put it in a light of my mom's a hero, for multiple reasons. Number one, like I see it that way, but number two, also to give Everly that, you know what I mean? To give her the perspective of your mom's a hero and you should see her that way, you know? And so,
it was kind of a gift for her too.
No, it was a gift for her actually, because I bought 2 copies. I literally gave her a copy and gave your wife a copy. And so I played with the idea for several days, and I was kind of like, how am I going to name it? What am I going to call it? And I spitballed with ChatGPT. I was throwing some ideas out there, and then I just kind of put one and another together, and it became the Heartbeat Hero. And that was kind of the idea.
That's good. It rolls off the tongue very well.
Well, I'm a big on alliteration. I love alliteration. You know what I mean? So the Heartbeat Hero was really cool.
That's that preacher in you.
It's funny. Me and Damien have talked a lot about that actually, is the alliteration and one word things are always like,
they're punching.
Single name things. That, and from a marketing standpoint, it was like, okay, I needed something to be way different than Where Is Uncle Jon? So it was like, how do I come at this in a very like cool, different, but yet in the same universe? And that's kind of what I'm creating right now, is like a universe around this whole idea. Actually, aside from the Where Is Uncle Jon ones, my new one is going to be Uncle Jon Has a Baby, but it's going to be from the perspective of Everly becoming a big cousin to Uncle Jon's baby. But it's obviously going to be about, me and having a baby and all that kind of stuff. So, but I came up with the name, the Heartbeat Hero, and then I had to Google what a cardiac nurse does. And I literally texted you one day. I texted you, I was like, hey, I kind of want to share something I'm working on, but I kind of don't. You're all, don't tell me.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, because you were like, nah, I don't want to ruin it.
I might get too excited and be like, guess what?
Yeah, exactly. But I also like wanted to ask you, like, what does Alyssa do all day? You know what I mean? Like, I needed a little bit of help, some critiquing. And I
learned from the book.
And I was like, you know what? I'll just Google it. And, so I Googled in ChatGPT, like, what does a cardiac nurse do? And then I came up with a rough draft, which was way more wordy, than it was. And all my books are kind of like children's picture books. So the picture plays a big role in it. I didn't want to take away too much, by putting a lot of words. But at the same time, it's like very informative.
Yeah.
And so I just laid it out. And I literally went to the school right over here where your daughter goes, and I literally took like a picture of like the front of the school so I could use it in the ChatGPT layout. And
all the parents are walking by like, what a weirdo.
Yeah, and I literally like used that. I also used a picture of the church. So the century where you guys go to church at, I actually like pulled a picture of it was actually kind of hard to find a picture of the front of the church.
I know.
Yeah, it's not as easy as you think it is. And so I had to literally kind of like grab something almost off of Google Earth. It was like off of the Google review photos, but you know, on the Instagram, there's no like just picture of the front of the church. And I was actually going to tell Dame that was funny, but you know, it's funny. I sent Damien a copy of that page before I even gave Alyssa the book. I was like, hey,
that's
I wrote
funny because I sent it to him right when we opened the book.
That's funny, yeah. And I was like, hey, like I wrote this book and I put the church in the front. I just wanted you to know. I figured he would really like that, you know what I mean? After because you guys are such a big part of the ministry there, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I put the book together. I published it. Well, I put it for publish and then I left for the weekend. So the weekend that I went to Seattle, like on a random road trip with my friends, I went to Seattle. I put it to publish like Friday night. And the next week was Christmas. And I was like, oh, by the time I get back, it'll be ready to order. And I got back and it was like, it had errors on it, like, because some things were too close to the edge. And I was like, ugh. So I had to work on it again, like put it all back together. Because when you do the book, so luckily I have a kind of like template now to where for the sizing that I like, the 6x9 sizing and everything, I have a 2-page up template. But you have to take each one of those pages. It's got to have the correct margins and then like a bleed over to each page to where it folds. You don't lose anything like in the fold.
Yeah, because it's going to be deep in there.
Exactly. So you have to take every single page, 2 up, then turn it into a JPEG with the bleed into individual pages. And then you have to attach them all together in an Adobe file and render it as like a PDF X or something like that. So when you have to like, when it comes time to like, oh, I need to change a page. It's not just like, oh, let me just click one thing and click it. You got to take all the pages, re-put them back into the Adobe file, re-put them together as the PDF X, like, and then upload it. And then hopefully it looks good enough and they approve it. You know what I mean? Like with the bleed on the pages and everything. And it's like, it's such a process. So I put them all back together. And then I had Oso and Vanessa order a copy each, which is kind of funny because if you look at the 2 copies, they're like a tiny bit different, which I don't know why, but they're just a tiny bit different. But I use Kindle Direct Publishing for all my books. And so Amazon literally prints and cuts it when you order it. And so if you actually go to the back of the page,
print on demand.
Yeah, it's print on demand. If you go to the back of the page, it says like made December 19th, like 2025 or whatever. Yeah. And it tells you the date that it was made. So, you know, put them together and it's become actually one of the books that I'm really proud about. I haven't gotten any traction as far as like sales. Unfortunately, I know she shared it with like her team and people like that. But what I'm hoping is this year, I'm going to be starting to attend like book fairs and maybe do like some author reads at some libraries and stuff like that.
Podcasts too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like going to different podcasts, talking about it now that I have them out. And so it's good to have the series that I'm still building on, the Where Is Uncle Jon, because I want to get, my original plan was for 12. I think I'm probably going to get like 9 out because I really want them to be, there's not a book like them out. There's not a travel adventure series that focuses like per country like that and puts the information and the things. So
then you could start writing it off as a business expense when you go out traveling.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of the idea was not so much of writing the expenses off on future travel, but just
there's also a purpose behind it too.
Yeah, it was kind of like the whole experience, like it wasn't for nothing. You know what I mean? It wasn't just for my own gratification, but it also served a purpose to educate and inform. And all the books, they also have, so they have 2 pages at the end that are always the same. I always like to put that the local people here are so wonderful and nice, just to kind of like put that emphasis on everyone that I met, all the interactions I had. It was good. It's not nothing to be scared of. But again, I didn't go in any crazy areas. I didn't go looking for any kind of like dark situations or, you know, trying to get something from somebody in a dark alley or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I stood on the lighted paths and wherever it felt safe and it felt sketchy, I got out of there. You know what I mean? And so I try and put that in there. Like the local people here are so wonderful, nice. And then also to the emphasis on family, where at the end of the book, it says, Olivia Rose says, thank you, Uncle Jon. I can't wait till you get back. And I always say, yes, but remember, I love you no matter where I'm at. And it's just kind of like that, sense of family. And also too, being able to share these stories with the kids, with my kid coming up one day, to leave something behind that means something. And so, yeah, I used ChatGPT for some of the illustrations, but I actually wrote these books. It's important to me how they read. That's actually something that I need to do, is do like a reading of the book, because when I read it there was somebody that was like asking me about something like, oh, this part or something like that. And then I read it, like literally read it to them. And they're like, oh, I heard it way differently when you read it versus how I read it in my head. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to do that. And next is like do a sitting and actually reading of the books, like to put like an audio.
Sitting by a campfire on a video.
That's kind of cool, right? That'd be a cool idea. But I need to do something like that. So I have an actual like a read along version, turn the page. You know what I mean?
Page 2.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's been a lot of fun. And one of the cool things is I've kind of learned to like kind of clean up my social media and stuff a lot, because becoming a children's author is no joke. You know how it is, like everybody loves to go and kind of like leave funny comments under like Instagram posts or whatever. And I've left like a comment and then someone says, oh, your children's book sucks. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was just leaving a funny comment, but they were, they clicked on my page, they saw I wrote a book, and it's like, oh, and I don't want to have, a troll or somebody go and hit up my Amazon page and start leaving crazy reviews or whatever. But all the reviews have been really good.
Leave a good review.
Yeah, all the reviews have been really good. Everybody who has bought the books have been in big support. It's mostly been family and friends. I have a friend who she's written like 30 books or something like that, like crazy. She's older. She's been an author for a long time. And I hit her up and I was like, hey, I just finished like my first couple of children's books, blah, blah, blah. Like, how do I sell these things? And she's like, sadly, as many books as I've written, I still have not got down the marketing part. And I was like, oh, okay, that's all I need to know. And she was like, families and friends first and this and that. And so shout out to everybody who has supported me and has bought a book. But I personally am still on the mission and on the path. But there's still a lot of things that I'm learning that I need to do. I need to make bookmarks and some QR codes. I actually thought, tell me what you think about this. I thought about making like a Where Is Uncle Jon sticker to leave like in random places, like where people,
QR code.
Yeah, QR code, but it just says like, Where Is Uncle Jon? And people will be like, what the heck? And, scan it to just see Where Is Uncle Jon?
It's like you're in a hot air balloon and the basket is a QR code.
Yeah, or like at the ski resort, you know what I mean? Like, how it is, you sit down and you have lunch at the ski resort and you just see like a Where Is Uncle Jon sticker and you're like, where is Uncle Jon? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I named it that, because, Fairfield Jonny, I go by Johnny mostly, but everybody seems to have an Uncle Jon. There's Uncle Jons are very, very prominent throughout the world. And so as I've written this and talked about it more, I have met a few other Uncle Jons and they like the idea and stuff like that. So
that's true. Jon is a very like common name.
Yeah, and again, everybody seems to have an Uncle Jon though. Like that's part of it is like
whether you like him or not. No,
there was a I don't know if you heard because you listen to podcasts. So there was like I think it was a milk commercial during this holiday, and they were talking about real life. It was a whole thing where there's a social media that never goes out of style, and it goes Uncle Johnny's outfits or Grandma's famous tamales or something like that. But it was pretty much like the real thing instead of social media, like being with family, and then it was like drink real milk, and it was got milk or whatever, But it was the thing said, "Are Uncle Johnny's crazy outfits?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm an Uncle Johnny with crazy outfits." You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where it's been a lot of fun. And then obviously too, my biggest fan, your daughter. You know what I mean? Like Alyssa has sent me like videos and pictures of her like literally going to bed with the books, and that to me,
she's protective over those books. Like,
yeah, and that to me has meant the world. Like even if it's kind of funny, but it's like even in the Christian world, we say sometimes even if it just helps one person, it was worth it.
Yeah.
And it's like even if for her, she grew up knowing that she had an Uncle Jon who loved her and wrote these books for her and everything. And shout out to my other nephews and niece, but this is who is close by to me. You know what I mean? Who I've gotten.
We're literally like neighbors.
Yeah, and who I've gotten close to, that it has just meant a lot that she likes it, and they're all grown, now. But Lowell hopefully will grow up knowing that his Uncle Jon has traveled the world and has taken me around has been around the world and been a couple places. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I am excited to write some more and get back to putting out some more. But I'm also trying to figure out how to market them better. There's actually on like February 7th, I think, right over here in like Elk Grove Methodist Church, they're going to have the new guy who does the Reading Rainbow. Have you seen him?
No.
Dude, so there's a new guy.
Come and see. Da-da-da.
Yeah,
That Reading
yeah.
Rainbow?
Yeah. So there's a new guy. His name's Michael Threets. Anyways, you know where he's from?
Where?
Fairfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the new head of the Reading Rainbow. He's the new host of Reading Rainbow. He came out of the.
I didn't even know that was still in existence, or they brought it back.
Neither did I, but also too, I'm not sitting around watching public broadcasting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he has been really popular on social media ever since the reboot of Reading Rainbow. And then they have a young girl who redid the song, but it's the same song. Colors in the sky, Take a look. It's in a book. Yeah, neither one of us sing well, but yeah, it's cool. And then also too, I have gotten back into reading through it, like my own self. And so I have a friend named Warith, which is funny. His last name is Godot, but without the X. And so his author's name, his nom de plume, what they call the author's name, is W.S. Godot. But he wrote a book called I Am Legend Stone. And it is a novel. And when I first met him, I was at the Solano Library author showcase. And it was kind of like, literally, it was just a big conference room that had like 20 authors and their tables. And it's kind of when I learned like, oh, I need to make like stickers and bookmarks and, put those like banners up that, like we have at church and stuff where they open up and they expand and everything like that. But he had his book. And I was like, man, I seen you posting and things like that, but I hadn't got a copy of it. He's like, yeah, you got to check it out. And I was like, all right. So I ordered it. And then when I got it, I was like, whoa, this is 400 pages, But dude, it's really good. Like it is a really good story.
Which you've always been a reader, but it's been a while since you've been into reading.
So the crazy part about it was when I first sat down to read the novel, it took me like, I'd say a good 15, 20 minutes for my eyes to kind of like stop,
Get
like,
used to
to sitting still and like being calm. And like, because it's a different thing when you're scrolling and you're looking at something that's moving or whatever, or you're watching a video and it's moving.
Yeah.
But when you have to sit still and like read something, it took like 15, 20 minutes for my brain and my eyes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we have ADD, and I'm pretty sure like me and you both get easily distracted. So
yeah, for sure. But the day I started it, I literally went to Bodega Bay and I sat on like the trunk of a car because I had like the day off, and my girl works out by Bodega Bay, and so I literally went and got some clam chowder and the book, and I was like, I'm gonna sit here and read for an hour, and I was like struggling with 15 minutes, but I started the book, and the cool thing about it is the book takes place in Fairfield. It's like Fairfield 2012, and so it's really, really cool. It's a really cool book called I Am Legend Stone. And the book is about like a modern day kind of like superhero. He gets his superpowers on his 18th birthday, and it sets off like this chain of events. And I'm a little over halfway through the book, but I find myself like looking for time to go read. And it's been really cool. So him and I have talked about doing some content. I told him when I finish the book, I'm gonna take my little mic, my little webcam that I have, and I'm going to go to the Matt Garcia Center in Fairfield, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the book and how he wrote it and how he did all that. I want to do some content. I kind of like, I I kind of wanted to start. So I'm going to do like a whole separate. The only reason I haven't read my book and everything is because I need to create a whole separate channel that is kid friendly. So when you know that thing on YouTube where it's like, is this made for kids? You know what I mean? And I want to be able to put yes. But I want to do what I'm kind of calling like the war on reading. And to kind of like put an emphasis on the importance of reading, of sitting down, of reading a book. Because I'll tell you, sometimes when I sit for an hour, I get way more out of the story and sitting and reading than I do scrolling for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it is the same thing. It's a distraction. It takes you out of your element. It takes you away from what you're doing, and it puts you, into a story, into something fun. And whether it's a, crime novel or drama, or, some people read those steamy novels, you know what I mean? Whether it's something like that, whether it's something like that, I definitely can feel, since I started reading again, like the benefit of it. And I want to kind of like be a part of pushing that, not just for my own benefit, because I don't see myself writing a novel, but I can see myself like getting into some screenplay writing and things like that, some screenwriting, you know what I mean? And so I want to kind of dabble in that more, but it takes, like, you have to read to be able to be like, oh, and my vocabulary, like there's a word that he used in there. What is the word? It was like
vernacular.
No, it was
lackadaisical.
No, I had
use.
An acrid. And it was like there was an acrid aroma in the air. And I was like, what is that word? And I had to like look it up on my phone. And I looked at my phone, it was like a pungent or annoying odor. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, there's like new words that I'm picking up and different things like that, to where it meant something to what I was getting out of the book. You know what I mean? It added to the experience. But it's also a really good book. Like, it's a really, really good book. There's a part of there that I love. I shared it on my Instagram the other day. And he, like, the superhero is kind of like, he just kind of become known around the world, and they're trying to time him racing around the world. And they're sponsored by an energy drink company. And the energy drink lady comes up and she's like, hi, I'm from Oakland. And he goes, everybody from Oakland has to tell you they're from Oakland without you asking first. And I just started cracking. I literally started cracking up. He's like, I'm from the Bay too. I'm from Fairfield. And she goes, close enough. No. She says close enough. But that would have been.
That's a reaction.
That would have been as equally as accurate is, that's not the Bay Area. You know what I mean? But I don't think she wanted to tell that to a superhero. So anyways, but like I said, since I've become an author, and I just started doing this, I put out the first book like June-ish, like right around then. Yeah. And I've gotten 3 done before the year was over. Now the 4th one, the healthcare hero, the heartbeat hero. And so, having those under my belt has added some experience. And also too, like, I want to do some content where I show people how I did it and how I went about creating them, how I formatted them, how I did all that. I just, sitting down sometimes at the end of the day when you're tired to do content, it's kind of like,
I know. Try filming it and then going and taking it home after you've like had it all set up and having to get a video done the next day.
Everything I do is live. So you're literally like, even this, you're going to be having to edit this. Well, not not edit so much.
Thank you, AI.
But you still have to take this and then create something out of it. Like,
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I tweak the audio and stuff and, put a hook, intro, podcast, plugs, outro.
But shout out to you, because this new space is really dope. I mean, what you've created here is really cool. I'm really proud of you. I always have been really proud of you. But what's funny is I taught him how to make videos first. We started off with Pinnacle Studio. That was the program we first started off on.
The spark into why I even got into videos and got a video camera was Jackass movies and like Wild Boys and all that.
That's funny. You got to watch the new Story Wars then. They just had Steve-O on there. Oh, did you watch the Steve-O episode?
They're all talking like this, dude.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So funny. But yeah, man, I'm probably going to go grab the book so you can plug it like live on camera and I'll just cut to it.
Oh yeah, you have both copies. While he's gone, I'll fill the dead air with a little bit of fun stuff. Besides the books, I have been dabbling a little bit more in content creating. My Instagram is Fairfield Jonny. My YouTube is Fairfield Jonny. I've actually got some really cool videos on there from this year that I went traveling. On my YouTube channel, there is a video when I went to the Iguazu waterfalls this year. So the Iguazu waterfalls are in Argentina and Brazil. There's an Argentinian side, a Brazilian side. But I went to Argentina. I flew to Buenos Aires. And then from Buenos Aires, I flew to Iguazu. I actually had a killer stay in a beautiful hotel. God, just closing my eyes and thinking about that hotel right now kind of makes me really miss it. But I had an amazing time in Argentina. Went to the Iguazu Falls, the whole park. You go on an adventure. They kind of take you through the park. You get to see some of the wildlife, some of the parts, and then you literally walk out into these crazy, crazy platforms to experience something that is like 10 times bigger than Niagara Falls. I mean, it was incredible. So I got a lot of video. I actually went live there also. I was in Chile in the Patagonia area. So I've been to the Patagonia area in Chile a lot because my best friend Oso lives in a little town called Pucón, which is right next to Volcan Villarrica. And so I've been to that volcano right there, to the Villarrica volcano, which is actually pretty crazy now that I have seen some more volcano footage and then some more things on the volcanoes, because the volcanoes, when they erupt, it is a massive amount of energy that comes out of them. And so doing the volcano tours, kind of like going to a few of them, it has actually made me more proud of what I did when I went, but ultimately it's pretty scary. So if you go onto my YouTube or my Instagram, you'll see some of the trips and some of the things that I've been on my pages. So yeah, there's the book right there, The Heartbeat Hero.
Dude, I had to. Let me preface this a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I had to go into my daughter's room right now, into her nightstand, woke her up, had to put her back to sleep because she loves this book right here. This book, she had both copies in her nightstand, and she will not, give them up for anybody.
She keeps telling your wife that she won't. She keeps telling Alyssa that she doesn't want her to lose them.
Yeah.
I don't want you to lose them. But yeah, this is the book. This is the Heartbeat Hero right there. That is Mom, who is the main character, and Olivia Rose right there. And it has them both in what we call super scrubs. So that's kind of the term that I put for her hero outfit. It's kind of, I'm not going to lie, they need to design a scrub like this because it's actually a really cool, the way that it has like the little kind of pointed shape right there. I thought it was really cool the way ChatGPT put them out. I was like, make the scrubs an actual like hero's costume. And so it did. It put it in there, which I think it looks pretty cool. So there's like a little bit of the story and what's in here. But on the back, it says, Mom is a nurse, but to Olivia Rose, she's the heartbeat hero. Every day, Mom helps hearts beat strong, comforts families, and shows kindness wherever she goes. Through the eyes of a loving child, the Heartbeat Hero celebrates compassion, faith, and the quiet courage of healthcare heroes. This gentle, uplifting story reminds children that helping others starts with a caring heart and that everyday heroes are often the ones who come home to us. And it's pretty cool because if you look on the back right here and throughout the book, I had to edit Sutter's logo because I didn't want them to
come after you.
Yeah, exactly. However, if they want to come after me in a sense of supporting me, I will put Sutter Healthcare on the book. I am for sale, but I had to make it my own. So instead of Sutter Health, it says Heart Health with a cross there, and so that's the hospital that Mom works at, obviously. And then we've got, of course, Dad, who always starts the day off making Mom a cup of coffee.
By the way, I thought I was dead for the first few books. I don't think I'm in there at all, right?
No, you know what's funny is the idea was that she was just home with mom.
Yeah.
And that's why she woke up from the
There's
snack
no
and like
pictures of me.
you're at work or whatever.
I'm dead.
But you're not in it. But neither is your son. He wasn't in the first books either.
Yeah.
And in this one, he's down there. So you're right. You're right. Because you guys were around.
But
when I
now
wrote
the
first
family dynamic is there. The nuclear family is shown. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
and it's kind of funny because in the Where Is Uncle Jon books, everybady's in it actually except for you, because even
That's what I'm saying. I was just
even
like
in-
dead or something.
even in the park,
There's like a vase in the back with me.
yeah, even in the park, on the first ones, it's our brother and his wife and their kids running around the park.
Yeah.
And it looks like them with their belt buckles and everything.
Yeah.
And then when we go to the Amazon jungle, and even in the Patagonia book, JJ and Crystal are they're like because Crystal works in food, like she works in fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
So when I'm explaining what kind of fruits and vegetables there are or what kind of food, it's JJ and Crystal in the jungle with me. And it's like, dang, I did forget to include AJ in the book. But maybe on the next ones we'll have him and Jonah.
That was
in
just
there.
funny to me.
No, I know. It is funny, but yeah, man. But thank you for this. I appreciate it. This was actually pretty cool. Like I said, I'm really proud of your new setup. I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
We have been talking about podcasting.
Oh, yeah. That's what I forgot to mention. We talked about it over 10 years ago.
So I think the first time,
I mean, it's when we were heavily
let's-
listening to The Ramp and
Okay,
Damon
but
Thompson
let's
and all
be
that.
honest though, because we did have an RSS feed going. We had an RSS feed
yeah.
and we were live streaming.
Yeah.
We were live streaming and we had an RSS feed like before it was popular.
Me and Johnny come from like the event world and putting on.
We were youth pastors together, pretty much.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much.
I
What it
went
was.
to all the youth pastor meetings with you and stuff.
Yeah, well, you were my sidekick. You were my number one right hand man. And which our whole family, we're all so close in everything that we. Whatever one is working on, we always want to help out and be a part of. I mean, I just went to JJ's show on Friday or on New Year's Eve just to go, you know what I mean? To help out or just to be there with him. But yeah, we were live streaming the youth services before that was a thing, right?
Yeah.
We were like on some bunk Wi-Fi too.
Yeah.
Like some really bunk Wi-Fi. And then we also were getting the copies because back then everything in the churches were recorded on CD. And so we were getting the DVDs, the actual DVDs and the CDs, and we were uploading them to an RSS feed. And then AJ had me on a handheld recorder in my pocket with a little mic, and I would put that into, what was that audio program that you...
What's that? It's a super bunk audio program.
Yeah, but you show me
everybody has access to like that program.
You show me how to like compress and like how to make it a little bit better. And I was literally uploading to an RSS feed, which is what a podcast was back then. To go onto Apple Podcasts, you had to link an RSS feed to the Apple Podcast. And so we were really early in the space. Now, content has become crazy and it is what it is. But at the same time, I know how good we are together at this. Me as a personality, you on the technical end, and your personality has come out a lot. I mean, look at what
I've come out.
No, yeah. I just meant you. I meant you literally doing your own show. Like when you did all the stuff with the Miles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
I like to play the background a lot for sure. Like even not being like the forefront of things, and so this has definitely been different for me.
Yeah, but at the same time, our strengths together, along with our branding and everything else, has become more aligned to where I hope that whatever you have going here, I can be a part of, even just to help out or just come in. And if you need somebody to interview somebody or sit with somebody or whatever, I'm available. But this is really, really freaking cool. Like,
thanks, man.
I really, really like this. I think that it's pretty dope. I think that you are clearly ahead of the game when it comes to a lot of the technical end and being able to do this without having to be over there and switch video and do all that kind of stuff. Like, it's all doing it automatically. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I try and stay up on stuff.
yeah. No, well, it's your passion. You know what I mean? And that not everybody who does this is it their passion? You know, sometimes like, especially like a lot of the content that I consume, you know, be like the LA podcasters, you know what I mean? Like like Back on Fig Community, all that kind of stuff. And they have a kid 6 who is up on game, but their other videographers, they're like, if they're not getting paid, they're not going to show up. You know what I mean? Where it's like 6 has them, I'm pretty sure he has almost the same setup that
like
you're
producer
using.
and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm pretty sure he has the same setup you're using, just because I've literally heard like he went from doing the Figmunity stuff to also producing like Brown Bag, which is like the Letty who's on Power 106 and stuff.
Yeah.
It's their own personal podcast. And she said like, oh, the way 6 has us doing it, we don't have to take so long to edit them and put them out. We can put them out the next day. And it's like, yeah, because it's all, you know, auto done or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But no, I really am excited for you and what you're going to do here. Like I said, this space is really cool. And I mean, even this experience sitting here, like the sound, like it's a pretty quiet room. Like,
and we do have a crackle through the podcast. I know exactly what it is. As the pod is going on, I was looking around. You can see me kind of looking around, like trying to figure it out. And there's definitely a cable touching a mic cable over there. And it's an electrical cable touching a mic cable. So
okay.
It has
so it's just
grounding.
giving a little, it's giving a little feedback to it. But I mean, I noticed you every time I would do it, you were like,
yeah.
But at the same time, like that's why we decided to do this, to sit down and for you to
have to
practice.
trial and error stuff until
exactly.
I get it dialed in here.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I appreciate it, though,
Does
bro.
it right then.
Yeah. I appreciate this, though,
appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yay.
Go ahead and plug all your stuff. Like
I did when you were gone, but I will do it again. So on Instagram and on YouTube, it's Fairfield Jonny. On Amazon, when you look up the books, I actually have like an author page there. So it's John Morales, Jon Morales. And so all the books, my nom de plume is just John Morales, but on all social medias and anywhere else, it's Fairfield Jonny. And, you know, again, shout out to Fairfield and the city of Fairfield that raised us, raised me. Being from Fairfield is kind of a weird, special thing because a lot of people like to hate on us and say we're not the Bay or whatever and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, E40 follows me, so I think I'm Bay Area enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, it's been really cool to see what Miles has done for the Bay this year.
Yeah.
That's been pretty cool. And
it feels like 2006, 2007, like all over again, where like E40 and like You and Dat came out and stuff, like where the Bay Area started becoming mainstream, you know, and like a lot of people didn't know about the culture until like E40 was popping out until like.
To be honest, one of my favorite features that, first of all, my favorite Miles song is the Not My Job song.
Yeah.
That song has meant so much to me because of what he did on the song. Number one, like it's a real tribute to Mac Dre without having, like, how do you take Mac Dre and make it gospel? Like what?
Yeah.
Like, but he encapsulated it so well. And you know, I can bust you a rap, but that's not my job, you know? And it's like, he encapsulated so well to I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
You know, that song has meant a lot to me. But at the same time, one of my favorite features that he got was the G-Eazy feature, because I feel like Miles has taken on what G-Eazy did for the Bay, kind of like a whole different style, his own way, his own style, not being apologetic for who he is. Because like the one thing about G-Eazy, if you're a G-Eazy fan or anything like that, is G-Eazy, you never saw him do the Bay Area dancing really. You never saw him like being hella hyphy or anything like that. Like, you know, yeah, he had a grill in, I'm sure, in some videos or whatever, but he was always himself. He was always like his own style. He did like his black jackets and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his rocker kind of look, you know what I mean?
When he
like,
first popped out with the Run Around Sue song, he was like,
oh yeah, that's old Jeezy.
Yeah, Run Around Sue and like.
But you were up on all that early. You were up on all that
Plastic
early.
Dreams was like one of my favorites. Talking about waking up on a tour bus and stuff, like it's such a good album.
Yeah.
But the Run Around Sue, like I don't think that's on his discography because it has copyrights on it, so it's only on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's I don't think they got like rights to actually publish it.
Yeah.
That's my my thought process.
You're probably absolutely right about that. Yeah.
But even in like that whole, he came out in like a 1950s like style.
Yeah. No. He did. He was kind of like almost
his own
like
swagger,
like a 50s rockabilly kind of like, he
pomade, comb over.
Exactly. And then he never like I remember watching when he did his Breakfast Club interview, and he was kind of there. They kind of asked him like, what do you think about white privilege? And he's like, I have it, and I acknowledge it, and I use it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like unapologetic, like, oh, I don't,
Right.
I'm not, And he always had been himself, and I like that. And then one of the other things too about which correlates with G-Eazy and Miles is you can literally go back and watch those videos when he was like on the Vans Warped Tour, like driving around on a bus on his come up, and you can go watch Miles' stuff all the way back to right here, you know what I mean? And before then, shows we've done together where it was like kids, 12 kids in the audience, 20 kids in the audience, at Calvary Christian Center, Miles would pull up and just rock everything out for the fun of it. And so it's really cool to see the way Miles has taken the torch, has done things his own way, but also kept God at the center of it. And like, we know Miles as a person. Yeah. So it's like, he is the perfect person to have done what he's done.
Yeah, and randomly he'll be on my mind. I'll just like randomly text him, and then he'll text me back like something super sweet or like, hey bro, I'm glad to hear that. Or,
every time I reach out on Instagram or tag him in something or post one of his things or whatever, he always replies. He always likes it and everything like that. But like I said, he's been the perfect person to represent Christian culture and Bay Area culture, and of course take that to the next level. So, to see it all have started literally here and before this with everything that we've all
these are like your worlds all colliding, and then like he was able to take it out there.
Yeah, no, it is really crazy to see.
Yeah.
It is really, really crazy to see. And even going to that first Glowfest, Glowcella, when it was Glowcella. Oops, we're on a copyright.
Yeah, the podcast gets like
demonetized for that. No, but even that first Glowfest, dude, being there with like What Up RG and 1K Few and all of them, and it's like they were on Reach Records, and he still went above and beyond what they did with the culture, to where it was like, and no shot at Lecrae here. Love you, Crae. We've literally had this conversation, but like literally to where Lecrae was like, let me get on this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think Lecrae,
let me do this right here.
I think Lecrae is just super smart too, and he recognizes talent. And when talent appears, it's undeniable.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. I didn't mean that like he was jumping on the wave.
No, I know.
I just meant that he saw where Miles could take it and was like, let me help this out. Let me give this, all the hardened Christians who might look at this and be like, who is this Bay Area guy? You know
Miles
what I mean?
has done for like my podcast too. Like he didn't need to keep coming back every single time.
Yeah.
And there's like I'm sure like the big brother aspect that comes from like Lecrae, where he's like, I'm going to support this dude.
Yeah.
And so like comes with like a name and his own platform.
But even that, you go back to you and Lecrae, like one of the first interviews.
I've never really talked about that.
Yeah. You interviewed Lecrae as like a 14-year-old kid.
I think it was like 15, but yeah.
Yeah, as a 15-year-old kid for somebody else's platform.
Wait, hold on. Shout out Grant Folk, for which I know we were going to church together at one point too.
He's still my friend on Facebook.
Yeah, Grant helped me get back there. He's like, oh, you're with Breathe Life Radio? I can help out. Like, yeah, we'll just say we're doing a Breathe Life Radio interview, and it's with Rock and Faith, and I'll get you back there. And he helped me talk my way back there. We literally went past like this very looking security dude to get back there. And Lecrae's like, let's do it real quick.
Yeah.
Super cool too. Thank you, Lecrae.
Yeah. And again, fast forward all the way to when the All-Star game came to the Bay Area, and I was there with some friends and E40 and them, and then Lecrae. It was so cool because everybody wanted to talk to E40 versus like a Christian crowd where everybody would want to talk to Lecrae, and Lecrae was just standing there like whistling, like tweeting his thumbs, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to go talk to Crae. And I literally walked up and be like, man, like, what's up, bro? We talked about the Breaking Down the Walls concert and all that kind of stuff. And then it was like, yeah, my brother interviewed you at Spirit West Coast like years ago. And he's like, I think I remember that. Yeah, but it's just like you said, all the worlds colliding together to kind of like get to this moment. And that's that's one thing where, like, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier, like even Mission, you know what I mean? Like having been around from Mission, literally just rapping on the Army of David CD. And I can literally remember the first day that we went in there, and who was in there was Retro was dancing at that one all-nighter. You know what I mean? And it's like, and some of those people all the way now are, you know, famous turf dancers and all kind of stuff and everything like that, going back to those moments where it was like, that's how I met Mission, was at a church event, and we were just rocking out all the way to like the Crave album and the things we did, to where now that dude's got, you know, millions and millions of streams. He bought a home off of his music, you know what I mean? Off of Christian rap. Like that is one of the most impressive things to me that I've seen, like, our local homie do, you know what I mean? And so it's just been really, really great to watch. And so, you know, shout out Miles. I mean, like, I hate to say it, he doesn't need the extra praise, but I'm gonna always give it to him because he deserves it, because he's a real life Christian, number one, real life believer, but also too, like a real man, a real father, real husband. And, you know, I'm just proud of everything that he's done in the space. And, you know, it's weird sometimes, like, you know, it's like everybody gets this, but when they knew a band before everybody else did, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I knew that first, you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, but where he's at now, it's all God. And it's been pretty cool to watch. Yeah.
And, it's literally what you see is what you get. Who he is on camera and on his music is who he is as a person.
Facts.
He's pretty blunt and bold about who he is, so he's not afraid to be his actual true self.
I never unfollowed him, but I remember there was a point where every time it's like, "What up, Glow Nation?" I'm like, "Oh, I cannot take these." Before he blew, but it was like he put that same energy that he does to today. I literally saw him at like La Russell stream or something like that. That he did today. Like that same energy that he put in today, he did it when he had like 1,000 people, you know, hardcore fans and following him at that same, you know, festival, all that kind of stuff. But he puts his all into everything he does. Also, too, he's just a hyphy turned kid from the Bay.
Which is a lot. Miles is a lot of people who I grew up with.
Also, too, shout out Dars, because I feel like if he hadn't met Dars or had him on like a production level on some of that early music that he was making,
he took him to another level for sure.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I don't think he would have had like a Christian producer that could have matched him the way he needed him to, the way the Dars beats did, bro. Like, it's kind of like the like when you hear Mozzie and I know you don't listen to like Mozzie, but when Mozzie had the June on the beat, you know what I mean? It was like, dude, all these beats were like perfect for him. The Dars beats, like Dars on the beat, bro, when those songs come on. And then now I've heard Dars with so many other beats and so many other people. It's like, oh, that's so dope that sound's getting elevated from a real Bay Area Christian producer, like a real dude. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, shout out him too, man, because they definitely together created some classic stuff, man. I love it.
I think Miles just took the standard and definitely raised it for all like Christian music too, overall.
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he made it fun again. You know what I mean? Because I think with the Reach Records and the 116, like I think the pinnacle for a lot of that being fun was like when Andy Mineo was like, you know, top of all that, and then you know, and then but you could always get like KB and get like the real deep, you know, almost like a sermon every song and that kind of thing, you know,
very theological.
But with Miles, it's like, yo, he made it fun. He made it amazing to be able to turn this on. And then the cool thing is, and this is what I know a lot of parents have picked up on, you can put it on and ride to it and not worry about it being something bad for the kids. Like literally the one time the day I had Jonah, that I watched Jonah for Alyssa, and she was like, I was like, oh, I have to go run some errands. And I go, Jonah, what do you want to listen to? He was like, I think he said Moana or Moana, right? The Hawaiian. Oh no, Lilo Stitch. Like he wanted to listen to the Hawaiian roller coaster song or whatever. So I put it on, And then I was like, I cannot listen to this for the next like 30 minutes. And then I was like, oh, he likes Miles Minnick. You know what I mean? Like he knows Miles Minnick. And then so I just put Miles' album on, Via Dolorosa. And I was like, oh, dope. Like I could just play this, not worry about the kids can't listen to this, but I can hear some slaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool. It's been really fun. But also too, like I said, the Not My Job song. That's my song, dude. Like I don't care. Out of all the Miles' ones that I've loved, I love a lot of them. The Not My Job.
That's the one that hits hard.
Dude, that I kid you not, that song, I really hope something happens to where I might even do a deep dive on it. I might even sit in front of my
breakdown.
Just do a reaction and a breakdown of what that means. That and then the Keek one is dope, but the Keek one is kind of like it's literally that song kind of redone.
It's an homage.
Well, it's that song redone.
Yeah.
The yada I mean, yada
Well,
I'm
it's
saying,
like-
you know what I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about.
The coolest part of that song for me is where he's like, I threw away the Newports.
Yeah,
Because like in the song he's talking about get the Newports, like the original.
Yeah. I got a crush proof box. Smoking out of
He goes,
exactly.
Something, threw away the Newports.
Yeah, but no, that song, Not My Job. Like I said, I think I might have to do a deep dive on my channel and go into it because that song really.
Yeah, man, get back to content creating because that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but when you get in the flow and you make things kind of automated and my whole thing like with creating content and stuff is create a workflow for yourself. So like maybe build a template, like a video template, and just say like this is what I'm going to do every single time, or this is what I'm going to do and try and stick to that. And then it makes it easier when you go to post production. Then you're like, I just know I need to throw these levels on there, and then it's done.
Yeah, see, I don't even know how to do all that. I do, but I say I don't, like kind of like someone who's been here. I only been in the United States for 20 years. I don't speak English.
Well, you have
like,
a Mac now, right?
Yeah, I do.
I'll get you DaVinci. I have an extra license.
Yeah, but I definitely need to, because like so one of the things that I wanted to do was do food content because I'm a foodie, and so I wanted to call it Hella Hungry.
Do you know
like,
what a mukbang is?
Dude, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing no mukbang.
I know you're not, but that's like for my stupid like dumb brain will like just like randomly throw images in there.
Yeah.
And when people are talking, I'll start laughing because it's like when you're like, I want to do food content. My immediate reaction was just you mukbanging like a bunch of cheeseburgers and stuff.
No, I don't want to do mukbang.
I
want to just do some of my favorite places to go eat.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Kind of some of the stuff me and Mission were doing with like, I don't know if you ever watched those, like when we went to like Cordy Bros or when we went to go eat lob and stuff like that.
I don't think I ever. I remember you telling me about it. I don't think I ever watched
That's
any
some
of the
good
edited content. I'm gonna have to check it out. So I wanted to do. I actually have the Instagram already saved, but I wanted to call it like like I'm Hella Hungry, like the Hella Hungry food show. You know. But remember, I was just telling you I went and sat and ate the clam chowder. I had never had red clam chowder.
Neither have I.
Okay, so
And I only know it from Pet Detective.
Ace Ventura,
Yeah.
New England clam chowder.
Is that the red or the white?
Exactly.
I don't know. White?
So do you know what's funny is New England clam chowder is white style, New England style. The other one is called Manhattan style. And so that's the red one. So the difference is the white one is like a milk kind of cream based, and the red one is like tomato based. It's like eating like tomato minestrone soup, something like that.
I could get down with that.
It's actually
It sounds like heartburn in a bowl, but I could get down with that.
It's really not, but I did. It's a place called Spud Point. That's where you can go in Bodega Bay and get like fresh lobster and all that kind of stuff. But Spud Point, they literally, they're open 7 days a week, like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. But if you go in the middle of the day, they'll have a line down the street, like literally a line down the street because it's a small little place, but they make the best clam chowder. I went and literally got a red and a white, and I took video on my phone and all that kind of stuff, just never edited it and never put it together. I took like really good, like cinematic, talked about it, like, but I had to figure out like, how am I going to do it? Am I going to be speaking on like a, hey everybody, this is me. I just wanted to go, or am I going to just do the audio that
slurping.
I have? Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing that. Yeah, ASMR, like.
That's the other thing like our dad does that I like you'll be talking like and like I'm like I can't talk to you while you eating, man.
Yeah. But no, that's the one of the things. I want to do some food stuff. But like I said, mainly because I am a foodie and I love food, but I like trying new stuff. You know what I mean? So
That's dope, man.
yeah.
Well,
I'll get back into it.
thank you so much for watching the Solified Podcast. Another episode. We had John Morales on today. Be sure to go and get this book on Amazon right now. It's called The Heartbeat Hero. It's about my wife and my daughter. But the most important part is that you get to learn about what a cardiac nurse does, the day in the life as a cardiac nurse, and how important nurses are, especially, the ones that are out there on the front lines, literally with people in life and death situations. So definitely get your book today. Be sure to hit subscribe on the channel. Make sure you click on this video right here. It will definitely be recommended for you. And let me know if they nailed it. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.